I remember the day Little Bear was being made in the mid 1990s. You know the show Little Bear is about a little bear named Little Bear. Well, practically it's about him and his friends go on many adventures to learn life lessons, problem solving and etc. However, though, honestly, this was definitely something that Tyler, who is a grade 3 student in a small town in the United States, has only seen. He and his family like to travel in a lot of area, so this is definitely something that he really liked to do. However, he used to watch Little Bear constantly, along with a couple other shows. They live in Wisconsin, so they apparently got a couple Canadian shows that did appear in the US, such as Big Comfy Couch, and of course, some other Canadian shows like Franklin. You get the idea. However, this took place on a summer day that was hot and humid in 1999. Of course, he was on summer vacation, and he and his family would travel around the world and stuff. Of course, Tyler's mother noticed that Tyler had been watching a lot of VHS tapes of the show Little Bear. Of course, whenever he wasn't at school or not. It was the last day of school, so Tyler ended up coming back home to see that his mother had recorded an episode of Little Bear on VHS. He even got a bunch of VHS tapes from his mother as an end of the year gift. There were a lot of VHS tapes of Little Bear, which Tyler really enjoyed. He of course saw that there was a lot of episodes of Little Bear that he has seen. Of course, Little Bear was still being made until 2001, when the show concluded with the movie. But of course, back to the story. Tyler ended up putting the VHS tape in his bedroom on the TV that has a VCR. Honestly, he put the tape in, the one that he recorded. The one his parents recorded when he was at school. Of course, when the tape started, it was pretty much just an ad for a Disney movie, so Tyler ended up rewinding the tape to try to go back to find out where the Little Bear episode was. While he was rewinding that, his parents were still downstairs getting things ready for the summer. Of course, that was what was taking place. Tyler ended up coming back to his room a few minutes later and saw that the tape was already at the beginning of the Little Bear episode. He pressed play right when the announcer said, "Coming up next, Little Bear on Treehouse TV." Tyler sat right in front of the television near his bed when the intro of Little Bear played, and then everything went normal. Of course, what really happened was, it honestly was really strange. Of course, this was something Tyler had not expected, but what happened was immediately shocking. Of course, this was definitely different. It was definitely different that Tyler had remembered any Little Bear episode. The episode featured 3 stories with 3 being shown in one episode. One student remembers seeing Little Bear as a kid when Tyler used to go to school, and he really enjoyed it. The first episode, or the first story of the Little Bear, started off with the episode's title, which of course the title read Big Footprint. Basically, the episode involves Little Bear and his friends going on to a picnic at Pudding Hill. All seems normal until Little Bear discovers there was a tracks of big footprints in the dirt. Honestly, Little Bear thought that maybe it could have been Moose, but it didn't look like a Moose's footprint, because the only big character that was in it was Monster Bear, but even then, he only appeared in one story of Little Bear. That was just it. Little Bear and his friends decided to go search for them, for whatever it was, and they followed the big footprints. Obviously, nothing really out of the ordinary happened, and nothing was going on really crazy. However, he was looking around, and he realized that this was not a regular episode of Little Bear. How I recognize it is because everything was really weird. Of course, the next episode which involved the cabin. Honestly, this is where Little Bear and his friends decided they would go follow Bigfoot again, if that was really what his name was. They followed the footprints back into the forest again, Little Bear and his friends, with this time with Emily. Emily looks to see that there was a cabin. It looked really not really in the best condition. It almost looked abandoned. But Little Bear and his friends realized that was the cabin in a secluded area in the woods. Tyler couldn't believe his luck as he stumbled across a really weird episode of Little Bear that no one has seen before. He was even the first one to even know about this episode. The third episode or story appeared that says The Bigfoot Mystery. Of course, Little Bear, it's a part 3 to the other 2 stories. They ended up going up to the cabin where they were greeted by Bigfoot. Obviously, he almost looked like a gorilla, but he wasn't very scary how most people would have thought of Bigfoot to be like. Honestly, the episode goes on with Bigfoot being generally kind, and of course, he lets them in and they have tea and stuff. Most of the episode went pretty well. There was nothing really out in the ordinary. But what confuses Tyler was that after the episode, he did not even know what this episode really mean. He even decided, even though the internet had been around only for was newer at the time, he couldn't really research it as his family couldn't afford the internet at the time. But of course, a year after this episode was made, he decided to research about the episodes of Little Bear, but he ended up having no luck on finding the episode, assuming that it did not exist. Years passed and Tyler still hadn't been able to find out what really happened to the next episode of Little Bear about the Bigfoot mystery. Was it a hoax or was Bigfoot real? He had heard stories of people searching for the lost episode of Little Bear, the one that no one has ever seen but only heard rumors about it, but no one ever found it. Until 2023, when Tyler was in his 30s, on a practically cold winter day, Tyler was scrolling through an old video store's tapes when he came across a Little Bear VHS tape. Abe said. Immediately he knew he had to buy it again and bring it home with him because he honestly really liked Little Bear as a kid, and of course that was what his parents were selling since they found it in the basement and they realized they didn't really have a use for it anymore. After his parents told them to take the whole set home with for free, he immediately knew he had to bring it back since he had a baby on the way with his wife, and of course they had to get at least something for their child to watch. When Tyler watched the whole tape, to his surprise, the episode that was made in 1999 was still on the recorded tape. He watched the entire episodes. Again, while it was finished, he couldn't even believe his luck. Bigfoot was probably real, and he had experienced the same story that he had seen so long ago. Of course, this episode definitely wasn't existable on the internet, even if he did research on it. He even asked people who made Little Bear, Nelvana, and of course, they said they had no idea about this episode and that it didn't feature on their episode count. Obviously, Tyler looked on the website again just to be sure, and sure enough, there was no episode containing Little Bear finding Bigfoot. This episode really got Tyler in a bit of a tizzy and a haze because he wants to believe that Bigfoot's real, but he wants to believe that it was just a regular episode and was probably hallucinating. No one can really tell for sure if this episode was ever real since no one had posted any footage or any sort of evidence of this episode's existence. However, it still lingers at the back of Tyler's mind that this episode probably was locked away in a vault due to the episode's contents. I mean, maybe they took the episode off air since it was a little too scary, or maybe some people may find it unnerving for them to enjoy watching. This episode still lingers at the back of the mind to this day, and of course, Tyler has no idea who would make the episode or who is behind it. Unfortunately, that's an answer that he's still gonna have to hunt for.